The Walk-On Indians boys cross country team is back at state for the fifth straight year. I believe, let's see here, looking at my notes, 29 times in school history. Head coach Tara Stein joining us to talk about the season that has been and get ready for Fort Dodge this coming weekend. And Terry, you look at this team, what has made this a successful group?
It starts with your senior leaders, the upperclassmen that have, kind of learned the ropes from the upperclassmen that have come before them, and to have, three, upperclassmen, junior and two seniors leading the way, running 1 through 3 consistently throughout the season really sets the tone for everyone else. And it allows us to go out there and kind of approach things and try to run as strong as we can and run our race and, see where that's going to get us with a team finish at the end of each meet.
And obviously, after last year's season, you graduated a good group of seniors, but you mentioned those core three that have been your leaders throughout the year. How have they been able to bring others along and reach the level that you have this year?
They're a very goal-oriented group of leaders. And so I think when the underclassmen that maybe don't have as much experience can see the goals that they're setting, and not only for themselves individually, but how they want to see the team continue to grow and advance is very important. Last year we had, a strong group of seniors as well, as you mentioned, and, they set the tone, as I said before, for the guys younger than them and showed them the ropes. And so now this group, my front leading group of three, definitely have taken that to heart, and they are following suit.
And of the kids that are going to be new to the state meet this year, how do you get to that connection with young people that might not have the experience coming into this season? How do you get that lack of experience? How do you turn that into belief and ultimately into performance?
Well, last year I was fortunate to have a couple of my underclassmen serve as alternates on our team that went down to state. And so they had the opportunity to basically train right alongside the 7 that were running, and you'd be able to take in that state meet atmosphere. And so they've been on the course, they've walked the course, they warmed up with the guys. And so now this year, after that leaves a little hunger in them, not being able to run that final meet last year. But now, hey, they've put in the time, they put in the hard work. They've kind of learned and kind of seen where that can get them. And now they're ready to kind of just be part of that group and see how they can add to this legacy that we got going here in Waukon.
And at Monticello last week, the top 4 teams were only separated by 22 points. How does running at a state qualifier like that get you ready ultimately for Fort Dodge?
We are, basically meet in and meet out all season long. In all of my years of being around Waukon cross country, we run against the toughest teams in the state each and every week. And so being able to see the quality of runners that we do week in and week out, including at our state qualifier last week, it is huge. We just go out there, you run your race, you compete hard, and let your running do the talking.
And when you look at those top 3 individuals, I'll ask you to maybe break those guys down a little bit more. Isaac Reisinger has been that consistent kind of low stick for you throughout the season. What makes Isaac successful?
Going back to what I said before with them being a very goal-oriented group, Isaac has definitely, had that goal set. Basically, when we finished last year, we wrapped up the season at state with our back-to-back 4th place finishes as a team. That hunger is there. And so knowing that we weren't finished yet, you get those guys thinking right away with goals. And so Isaac has some very lofty goals for himself. And he has been our low stick all year. He's consistently ran under 17 minutes. And hopefully we can see that he'll be able to, dig a little deeper at state on Saturday and see that time go a little bit lower yet.
And Caleb Helgerson was almost under that 17-minute mark at Monticello. What has made things click for Caleb this year?
Caleb is a hard worker. He's one that you can rely on to make sure that he's getting that work in and day out. And he has had a meet or two this season already where he has been under 17. So he and Brandon Leppert have been going back and forth between the 2 and 3 spot for us all season long. Seems like if one's a little off one night, the other one is right there to pick up the slack. And they know where they want to be. They've got those goals set, and they continue to work hard and strive to get out there and get position for that first mile, so then they can be strong that middle and end section of their races, and just run their race, and hopefully that gets them that spot where we can see season's best PRs here as we wrap up the season on Saturday.
And you mentioned Brandon. He's in that good position of being an experienced kid, but also an underclassman. What has allowed him to emerge into those top 3 this year?
He seems to really thrive off of those 2 ahead of him. He's able to, tie right in with them, and he wants to be right there with them, stride for stride. Yeah, still not quite as much experience as those other 2, but he's really developing into a strong leader even as a junior. He puts in the work during practice. He's, committed to off-season training and doing the work in the spring that it takes to get us that much stronger for the upcoming fall season.
You touched on it with Isaac. He said right after the state meet last year, he set some pretty high goals for this year. Oftentimes with high school kids, they're hungry right after the state meet. Well, maybe sometimes a month goes by those goals, and what is required to achieve those goals maybe goes away a little bit. How does Isaac and the rest of your leaders keep everything right here as compared to making it a roller coaster?
Of course, at the end of the season, you are hungry. You're hungry for more. You got to that, that big final meet of the season, whether the state meet goes exactly as you had hoped or planned, or the goals that you set were reached or not. To have that fire right off the bat is very important. And then I kind of let a little time go, but not too much. You got to get them thinking already. All right, what are those goals for the next season? So then I share out goal sheets with the boys and say, hey, these are my goals for the team, and then break it down individually, share that out with the guys, and encourage them to fill in their preseason goal for the next season. Knowing that is a longer term goal, obviously then they have to be able to, set those shorter term goals to work towards that. And that would be, okay, if I'm not out for a winter sport, what kind of winter training do I need to put in place? Then as you work through the winter, you start keying on that spring season and getting out for track. And how can I help out not only the track team, how can I improve in my track season? And then how that's going to carry over then to summer training, which ties right into our camp and our season. And if they're willing to do that and continue to kind of touch on those stepping stones and set those additional goals along the way, that is huge with being able to work towards those bigger, loftier goals that we have for state this Saturday.
And what's going to take to have as good of a day as you possibly can come Saturday?
Well, you already mentioned this, running against some pretty tough competition up here. And we've ran competitively with, the likes of Denver and Owine, who are ranked and have been ranked in the top 3 to 5 pretty much all season. Hopefully, having seen that competition and knowing kind of where we're at right now in relation to them, it would certainly be nice to go out there and run our best race on Saturday and see if we can't get a few Northeast Iowa teams to finish very high in the ranks.
All right. Hopefully you can maybe even end up on the deck come Saturday afternoon. Tara, always good catching up with you anytime, and especially this time of year. Congrats on a great season to this point. Hopefully it can even be that much greater come Saturday. Best of luck to your student athletes down in Fort Dodge.
Thank you so much. And I want to wish the rest of the teams here in the northeast corner of the state good luck at Fort Dodge on Saturday as well.
Tara Stein, head coach of the Waukon boys, back at state for the 5th straight year.